A year and a half ago, Taylor Swift wowed crowds around the world with some awe-inspiring performances on the Eras Tour. Here in Vancouver, much like the other stops, some people paid jaw-dropping prices for tickets. And in at least a handful of cases, some of those customers felt cheated when they finally found out where they were sitting. And some dogged work by this gentleman, CBC's Jason Proctor, is giving us an inside look into how disgruntled ticket buyers voiced their complaints to the provincial government and how StubHub was forced to respond. Jason, let's start with the complaints.
Yeah, so basically through a Freedom of Information request, I got 171 pages worth of complaints to StubHub that came in after these 3 nights of Taylor Swift's Eras Tour here in Vancouver in December 2024. And I mean, the emotion, right? I mean, there are people calling in saying, I'm having a panic attack. There's people calling in saying, you know, I'm at the stadium. They don't have my tickets. There's somebody sitting in my seat. There are people, and this was one of the main complaints with regards to this, who bought tickets based on a belief that it was going to have a certain view from where they are. I mean, there's one woman that writes in, it's a very long letter she writes, an email she writes.
To the provincial government?
Yeah, to the provincial government, or, well, no, to StubHub, I should say.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah, this is StubHub's complaint log, and what she writes in and says, you know, I'm in tears as I write this. I've got 2 daughters. I would have paid $10,000 for us all to sit together, but I couldn't afford it. So we got seats apart. I knew the view wouldn't be great, but there was a picture of a diamond at a catwalk. I thought I'd get to see Taylor. Instead, I'm staring at the back of the stage. I'm devastated.
And she still paid, I think, something like $1,600, $1,700 a ticket.
$5,100 for this.
3.
You see the emotion, right?
Yeah.
Because in that case, you know, Taylor Swift's music was what kept her and her daughters sane, she said, after their father died. So very powerful. You know, that's why people go to concerts, why people pay a lot of money. And it's sort of obviously what, you know, the government was kind of tasked with looking into in taking on StubHub and complaints against them.
Yeah, I saw some of the video of fans going in, and people had so much joy when they found out they had tickets. They were so excited as they walked to BC Place. One night during one of the concerts, I never got inside, but I waited outside. There were a whole bunch of fans listening through the walls and so joyful then. So to sit down and then find out that these tickets you paid a premium for through StubHub was nowhere near, like as you say, in some cases, they didn't even get to see the stage. How frustrating. So you have the logs of complaints to StubHub, and eventually all of this ended up before the provincial government.
Yeah, it ends up before the Consumer Protection branch of BC, which is tasked with basically, you know, enforcing the Ticket Sales Act, because there is legislation that guides this, and part of that is that you're supposed to have clear, you know, instructions, clear sort of details about what you're actually buying. It's supposed to include also the face value, that original price that the primary seller sold it for, and you know, there's supposed to be a clear way you can get a refund if you don't get what you paid for, and that's what the branch took on here, and that's what they orchestrated ultimately for these people that were led to believe they were getting one view, and then had, you know, basically they were in the stadium, but they could have had just as much fun outside as you did.
It's easy to, I don't know, yeah, I guess. It's easy to feel powerless when you're dealing with Ticketmaster or StubHub. So, you know, here's the provincial government acting kind of collectively on behalf of these ticket buyers. What did StubHub agree to do?
Well, StubHub agreed to refund eligible consumers. They also agreed to make, you know, certain changes that would ensure that people who are attending concerts in British Columbia, only in British Columbia, right, you know, were, you know, able to adhere or be guaranteed according to the Ticket Sales Act and those dictates about what they'd be buying. So basically, clear instructions, the face value had to be shown, and, you know, the refund policy had to be clear.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a sec. So the face value, because I think StubHub was saying, we don't know about the face value. What we can tell you is what, you know, that person bought the tickets for. But the face value has to be on there. I saw this actually. Sting is playing across the street, Queen Elizabeth Theatre, and there's some resale tickets on StubHub, and I could see what the original price was. It was enough to dissuade me from buying the resale ticket. And do they have to now disclose in British Columbia exactly what the view is from that ticket?
Yeah, you have to know what the view is that you're paying for.
Okay, excellent. And then, in terms of remedy, this is, you know, for future situations, for the people who are involved in the complaints before, that concert is done, right? So some of them got refunds?
Some of them got refunds if they were able to. StubHub, as part of the agreement, sent out letters to people, emails to people, tried to contact people to say, hey, you might be eligible for a refund if you were sitting in these sections, and they were refunded basically if they were able to show that, you know, they were buying something with a view, you know, or they were told that it was a certain view they were getting, and it didn't end up being that view.
One last thing, we have about 30 seconds left, but I always love to hear the stories about how you uncover these stories. How did you get that log?
Well, so, I saw that because StubHub's now facing a new investigation with regards to the World Cup here, and I saw there was an undertaking that came about in March, and so I thought, I wonder what's behind that, and I asked through Freedom of Information for the documents, and I got a trove of them.
Yeah, well, we're lucky to have you, Jason. Thank you very much.
Thank you.